Everybody. So I'm here to read chapter 5, and I have to confess, yesterday I sat here and I looked forward a couple pages because I was wondering. I had to know what happened with his feet, so I actually got so excited I read the next chapter, but that's okay. I'm here to read it to you now. In the morning, I found out that I'd been right. People did get upset about the blood on my bed. Patsy cried out in worry when she came in to see me, and she called to other people, and they clustered around. Someone took my bed away to be washed, and Patsy wrapped long white bandages around my front feet. Fran came and watched too. She stood a little way off. "What's wrong with the dog?" she asked. "I don't know," Patsy answered as she taped the white wrapping securely around my paws. "Why would he do this to his feet? He must have been chewing them all night." Fran made a sound like humph in her throat. I did not like the things Patsy had wrapped around my feet. They snagged on the carpet and made me skid on the tiles. More than once, all four paws slipped out from under me and I ended up on my belly. Sometimes people laughed. Sometimes they came to help pick me up. But even worse than that, the bandages kept me from chewing on my feet. My pads itched and itched and itched inside the wrappings, but I could not get at them. It was so frustrating that I limped back to the little room where I slept at night. My bed was back where it belonged, but it did not smell right. It had a harsh soap smell that I did not like at all. I rolled and squirmed around trying to fix the problem, and then I lay down and put all my effort into getting those pesky things off my feet. People kept coming to look at me. "No, Toby, leave the bandages alone, Toby." Sometimes they tried to pull my mouth away from my feet. I'd lick their hands to show that I still liked them, but I was busy. I had a job to do. "Oh, Toby, don't," Mona cried when she came in the room. "You'll make it worse." "Poor thing. Mom, what's wrong with him?" "I don't know," Patsy said from the doorway, "but I got him an appointment at the vet this afternoon. We'll figure it out." Mona filled up my food and water dish, but I was not very interested. I just wanted to get at my feet so I could bite them and stop the itching. Mona sat next to me and said my name a lot. "Oh, Toby. Oh, Toby," she murmured. I gave her as much attention as I could spare. I could tell she was unhappy. Maybe her feet itched and ached like mine. That afternoon, Mona picked me up and carried me to the car. She sat in the back seat with me, and Patsy drove, just like the time they had come to get me and taken me away from the ranch. Were we going to a different home now? I wasn't sure how I felt about that idea. It was always great to meet new people and discover new smells, but I'd missed Tyler and Granddad and some of the other people. I couldn't give it much thought, though. I was tired from no sleep all night, tired of my feet burning inside their bandages. With a long sigh, I lay flat on Mona's lap. "Oh, Mom, something's really wrong." "I know, honey," Patsy said from the front seat. "I know." I did not like the new place they took me to. A smell of harsh chemicals and cleanness and fear. A lot of dogs had been here, and they had not liked it at all. Mona carried me to a small room with a metal table in the middle of it. I was so tired and discouraged that I lay down flat on the table, even though it was hard and cold. It did feel good on my paws, though. I tugged at a strip of bandage with my teeth. I'd almost gotten it undone. After a little while, a man with a white coat came into the room. He talked to Patsy, then came over to me. "Let's see what's wrong, boy," he said. His scent was strange. I could smell that he'd pet a lot of other dogs before me, and most of them had been scared. A clean chemical odor hung to his clothes, instead of something comforting, like dirt. But he talked to me kindly, and his hands were gentle, so I wagged the tip of my tail. He seemed to understand what the problem was, because the first thing he did was take the bandages off my feet. Oh, wonderful. My paws were so sore. The moment I started nibbling on them, I yelped with pain. What could make him do this? The man checked all my feet. I followed his hands with my nose and tongue. "Well, I'll have to do some blood work to be sure, but I think I have an idea. I think Toby may have a gluten allergy." "Can dogs get that?" Patty asked, surprised. "It's rare, but it does happen," the man answered, "and it can cause itchy skin, especially the paws, just like where we're seeing here. Ever since this little guy started eating dog food instead of nursing, he probably hasn't been feeling well at all." Oh no, I had no idea. There was no real way you could have been able to tell, the man told her. It's a tricky thing to diagnose. Let me wrap Toby's paws back up so we won't make them worse, and I'll take a blood sample. Turned out the man had not understood at all how to help me because he wrapped my paws back up in more of that frustrating bandage, and then he poked me with a thin, sharp stick. I yipped from the pain and confusion. What was he doing all this to me? Why? Oh, poor Toby, Mona said, and she picked me up and held me as soon as the man let go. Patsy had to do more talking with the man than some other people. People seem to do that a lot, instead of more interesting things like running or smelling or chasing or chewing, but Mona held me and cuddled me gently, which made me feel better. Not much, though. Finally, we got in the car again. Mona held me on her lap some more as I got my teeth into a bandage and yanked. I just feel so bad, she said. We should have realized something was wrong. All this time he's been so unhappy. I let go of the bandage and looked up at her, drops of water sliding down her cheeks. I squirmed around so I could reach her face and licked the water off her chin. It tasted salty and sad. Mona was sad. I felt sorry for her. I knew how it felt to be sad. I licked her some more and leaned against her, tucking my head under her chin. Just like my mother, Sadie, had comforted me with her touch once, I tried to comfort Mona. Oh, Toby, she said, you are so sweet. That's what's so wonderful about dogs, her mother said. The car stopped and Patsy reached an arm back to stroke my head. His allergies were awful, but he doesn't hold any kind of grudge, does he? He's trying to tell you not to feel bad. He's forgiven us already. Wouldn't the world be a better place if people forgave each other as easily as dogs do? Over the next few days, Mona spent a lot of time with me. Patsy did too. They talked to me and petted me, which I liked very much. What I did not like was the way they kept fixing the tape on these bandages. Whenever I finally managed to get it loose, I could tell they were trying to help me, but they just didn't understand that what I needed was to get them off. Mona started putting a different kind of food in my bowl, which was even tastier than the last kind. She talked to me while I ate it, and that was nice. Good boy. This will help. That's right. You'll be better soon. Even though Mona and Patsy didn't understand about the bandages, my feet weren't bothering me as much as they used to. They still itched at night, but less and less during the day, even with my feet wrapped up. I felt good enough to make my way around my home, visiting all my friends. A few days after my visit to the strange man who had poked me with a stick, I was going about my business, getting petted and licking hands and sniffing shoes when I spotted Tyler and Granddad at the end of the hallway. My new friends. It felt like a long time since I'd seen them. My feet were feeling particularly good that morning, so I broke into a run. It was not easy to run down the tilted hallway on my bandaged feet. Tiled hallway, not tilted. My back feet slipped out from behind me and I ended up flopping on my belly. I got up, shook my head, and tried again with a slower start. That worked better. Soon I was trotting. That was good. I felt ready to run. Here comes Toby, Tyler called out. He was not very far now. I wanted to see him so much. Eagerly, I put on speed. I was running. It was working. Good boy, Granddad said. He was leaning on his metal cage and chuckling. I aimed myself at Tyler's white sneakers and braced myself to stop, but it didn't quite work as expected. The bandages were slippery, and I could not use my claws for grip. I skidded right into Tyler's feet, and my whole body ended up piled on his shoes, but I was so glad to see him I didn't mind at all, especially when he sat down on the floor and pet me all over while I waggled and wiggled with happiness. Boy, he's full of energy today, huh? Tyler said as I licked his chin. Mona said his feet are getting better. Here, Toby, want to chase something? He tugged a small rubber ball out of his pocket and showed it to me. Toby, ready? I looked up alertly. Was this ball for me? Get it, Toby. Tyler tossed the ball. It bounced away down the hall. Instantly, I lunged after it. Or I tried to. All 4 of my feet slid out from under me at once, and I ended up flat on my stomach on the floor. Tyler bent down to help me up, but I had already scrambled back to my feet. That ball was getting away from me. With my feet skidding at every step, I still managed to get a good amount of speed. The ball ricocheted around a corner, and I did exactly the same thing, barking as I went. Whoops, Toby, wait up! Tyler called from behind me. I heard Tyler saying my name, so maybe he wanted me to go back to him. But I was not interested in going back. I was interested in chasing. The ball bounced through an open door, and I head after it. "Hey, watch out!" yelled a voice. Feet stepped over me. I jumped and landed with both of my front paws on the ball. They still hurt a little, but the satisfaction of getting that ball more than made up for it. I flopped down to give the ball a good chew, and then, hands I never smell before seized me under the belly and hoisted me in the air. The ball fell out of my mouth, and I found I was looking into a dark brown face. The man holding me had fierce eyes and bristly gray hair between his lip and nose. "What are you doing here?" the man said sternly. "This is a kitchen. No dogs allowed." "You're in trouble, Buster." I squirmed in his hands. My ears and tail drooped. I was beginning to get the feeling that somehow I'd done something wrong. And there's the picture of Tyler and Granddad. Look at his poor feet. So we figured it out. We know what is wrong with him now. Gluten allergy. I know some of the students said they thought it was the grass or he could have an allergy to the outdoors. So it was nice to figure that out, huh? All right, we'll see what Chapter 6 has.